Welcome to the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. Fandom, fun, funny.
Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast.
And now on the podcast stage, a staple with many different lineups all the time, but the same lovable, wonderful title, The Kind of Nerdy Girls, with actually KJ here. Sometimes you're here, sometimes you're not with your own podcast. It's fun.
I think it's actually been a couple of years since I've done my own podcast on the podcast stage.
All right. Well, I'll leave it to you, so enjoy The Kind of Nerdy Girls.
Thank you. Yes, we are the Kind of Nerdy Girls. We're a part of a bigger community called the Kind of Nerdy Network. So if you're loving PopCon and you're meeting lots of people and you love having friends who nerd out about stuff, that is actually how this started. I was a lonely little girl who loved Star Wars and didn't have anybody to talk about it with, and then I grew up and this podcasting thing started, and I was like, yep, that's what I'm doing. So here we are. You can join our community at kindanerdynetwork.com. We have a Facebook group that is full of really nice nerds. We always say you can't be kind of nerdy without being kind, so kindness leads first. And I'm going to get myself in trouble for this someday, but I like to mention the fact that we have a Facebook group that doesn't require any moderating because people are actually really nice in it.
That's true.
Right? It's like, very, very rare that anything has ever happened that I've been like, that can't be in here or you can't treat someone that way. And I think that, we're excited to, have people who love fandom who just want to explore and support other people who love it. So I am KJ. As part of the Kind of Nerdy Network, we have the KJ Today Show, which is the positive vibes of pop culture, people to know, and pets. We play trivia. We goof off. We have fun being nerds. And joining me today, that you'll see them on the KJ Today Show. You'll hear them on the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. My husband, producer Patches.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is.
Whatever. Happy final day of PopCon Louisville.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
And also here with me, assistant producer Michelle.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Whatever. So we always like to start off with a little fun fact about ourselves. So today I'm going to start off, our fun fact will be, what is the thing that you have bought at PopCon Louisville that you're most excited about? Go ahead, producer Patches.
Well, today I, being the cat lover that I am, I purchased some cat art. It was a Han Solo. And no, I'm sorry. It was an Obi-Wan.
Do I need to tell everybody what you bought yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I promise I'll figure it out at some point. So yeah, it was a Obi-Wan cat, and it was a kind of like a yin and yang cat.
I
super cute.
I was looking at that, but I was kind of surprised that called to you. It was a little more artsy and less geeky.
Yes.
But yes, we love that. You're the yin to my yang.
Aw, stop it, man.
What about you, Michelle? What are you most excited about? I mean, shopping's part of the fun of PopCon.
Well, I mean, I was at that same little cat.
Is that the same booth?
Yes. Got a set of 4 to add to our other 2 we already have.
Okay. And you got the coasters, right?
Yeah, I got it was buy 3, get 1 free.
So it is, I'm just going to give a plug. EWAcats.com is the website. And it is, Angel is her name, the artist that makes all of that stuff. So it's an entire nerdy cat art booth.
But I also got honey tea right next to our booth.
Yes.
I got peach, and then I got the sleepy time tea. So.
Isn't that funny that that some people, if you haven't been to a PopCon, you're like, oh, it's a bunch of comic books and maybe you meet a celebrity. And I'm like, dude, I've got the best tea. I am like totally nerding out about true honey tea. Like,
Right.
what did you get at PopCon? Bags and bags of tea.
I would like to add to the thing I'm very excited about that I purchased at PopCon was actually at the PopCon merch booth. I got an
You're
awesome.
stealing mine, man.
Oh, sorry. Well, I got an awesome Galaga style 2024 PopCon shirt. So I was very super pumped about that
Got
too
one
because
for my
I'm
husband
a
as
huge
well.
Galaga,
Yeah.
huge Galaga guy.
I got I think it was the last PopCon. It was PopCon Indie. They partnered with, it's called Huge Brands, and it just upped the merch game. There's Carl from PopCon.
Oh my God,
Woo,
that is Carl from PopCon.
Ah, woo! And the merch it's incredible. So I got the Deadpool, Wolverine, I Heart PopCon shirt, and I got the Strange New Worlds shirt as well.
That was a surprise.
So, hey, live long and prosper, my friend. So that's been one of the the fun things about this particular PopCon is seeing all the Star Trek people. It's not a fandom that we talk a lot about on the Kind of Nerdy Girls. And I know you haven't seen Strange New Worlds yet, Patches.
Not as of yet.
I
No.
haven't.
Calling you out for that, and
That's
you
fine.
haven't either.
Nope.
But I will tell you, if you have, I think it's an entryway for new Star Trek fans, and I also think it's a nice welcome back for Star Trek fans who maybe haven't really, like the other shows so far haven't clicked with them. They were like, oh, you know what we should do? We should make a Star Trek show that's just having a whole bunch of fun in space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of like a throwback to what the original Star Trek show was, which was
They modernized the original,
Yes.
basically. Yeah. Well,
Where-
and they were cycling through a lot of different shows though too for a while.
yes.
And in the panel, they talked about like one of their favorite things they did was the musical episode that they did. That was really interesting.
Yes, and it wasn't when I first heard like, there's going to be a Star Trek musical. I'm like, oh gosh, like obviously, like that's a thing that has become a thing for shows to try out. I give props to Buffy because that was one of the first shows that was like we're doing a musical episode. I still own that soundtrack. We actually listen to that soundtrack on road trips sometimes.
We do.
Oh,
Yes, we do.
cool.
And actually, I have a lot of nostalgia here for Louisville because our very first convention was in Louisville. We
Yes, it
took it was a KJ's Comic Con bus trip when I was doing radio. And I remember them, pulling me into the office one day after my morning show, and they were like, "We need to talk to you about something. It sounds like it's up your alley, but if you don't want to do it, it's okay. But we have this this Comic Con company that wants to, spend money and do ads, and they're doing this event in Louisville, and." If you would take a bus full of listeners down there, that you're going to meet someone named Matt Smith. And I was like, I'm sorry, am I being punked right now? Like,
Well, and preface
my
that.
favorite doctor, I get to take a bus for free with a bunch of listeners and meet Matt Smith. I've never been to a con before, and this is what I'm going to do for my first one.
Yeah, and to preface it too, back then as well, the radio industry really didn't understand the con world as well. So they thought, they were like, oh, we don't, blah blah blah. I mean, kind of looked down on it, and then wow, they're going to spend money with us. We're like, oh, what is this? And then that started snowballing with you working, doing charity events like when Star Wars came out, when you did Star Wars.
Star Wars,
Yes.
yes. Listen, if you're going to be any way associated with me, eventually I'm going to infiltrate your world with nerdy stuff and cats. And I mean, look at PopCon this weekend. There's so much cat stuff here, and I'm like, it's my influence. I'm like,
Yes, own that.
we're just going to keep having more and more cat stuff at PopCon, so you guys better get ready. You hear that, Carl? More and more cat stuff is coming to PopCon. It's growing, man. The cat fandom. Get on board now. But to kind of go back to what we were talking about in Star Trek and in Strange New Worlds, the musical fits. I don't think it fits Discovery. It doesn't fit Picard. It doesn't, there's a lot of things that would not fit, but the musical fits in Strange New Worlds, and I think that kind of fun is something that we missed. And I think you got a little bit. You talked about, Michelle. You're a fan of the movies with Chris Pine, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
And that was a fun adventure.
It was.
Right, and even Carl Urban as Bones, like his comic relief, that is fun.
Well, Simon Pegg as Scotty. And,
Oh,
you
yes.
know, I mean, yeah, it was.
They had a lot of good actors in those movies.
They really did, and there's a place for the more serious stuff. We love a good sci-fi show that freaks us out.
Yes.
Dystopian stuff. We're into all that, but sometimes we just want to have a fun ride in space. So that's what the Strange New Worlds show I think has brought to Star Trek that a lot of people are excited about.
When you put it best, it's a welcome back.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got Ethan Peck, Anson Mount, and Christina Chong here, and you moderated the panel, and they're absolutely lovely people.
Listen, and not to bring it back to cats, right? But I have to control myself when I'm moderating panels, and it's not about me, right? I'm there to just kind of ask a few questions to get it going, and then turn it over to the audience so that they have their moment to ask their questions, right? And so when we were talking about, I always love to ask people, well, what do we nerd out about your show? What do you nerd out about? And Anson Mount, actually, he is a huge nerd about pottery. Pottery is his thing. He loves pottery. And that's cool, man. This at PopCon, if you walk up to someone and you're like, my nerdy thing is pottery, cool. Tell me more about it. Why do you love it so much? Because maybe it's my next nerdy thing, too. And then, we got to Christina, and she was like, my dog. I nerd out, my dog. That's my fandom. And I'm like, oh, you're my people.
And Ethan was movies.
Ethan was movies,
Yeah.
right? And so when she said her dog, and then I hadn't even told you this yet, Patches, but she talked about, I think Ethan asked her if she was going to get another dog, and she was like, no, she had some reasons for it. She was like, I think my dog would like having a cat. Maybe I'll get a cat. And, I'm like, oh, I could totally talk to her about how to get the right cat for her dog.
Right.
This is how you introduce a cat to a dog. I know some rescues. Do you need me to get you a cat right now? I can text some people.
We have the resources.
All the alarms went off in KJ's head.
I did it, but also I was like, and I should totally tell her that I have 2 cats named after Doctor Who from the episode she was in.
Yes.
She's in the episode that Melody Pond was born, and that's why we have Melody Pond, right? But it's not about me when I'm on stage, so those are all the things in my head that I was
very well.
I wish I could be talking to Christina Chong about pets right now. But anyway, what's the next question? So maybe we'll walk over there. Maybe she can hear me right now, and she wants to talk to me more about pets. Christina Chong, if you want to talk about pets, come to the podcast stage. Thank you. A couple of things that I did see that I thought, let's give everybody some content. Let's do some headlines on what's going on in the pop culture, geek culture world. It has, according to the Hollywood Reporter, James Spader is coming back as Ultron in the show that they're developing for Vision.
Oh,
A
that
Vision
yes.
show. Yes.
Now, did they get? Obviously they have to have Paul Bettany back, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. So it
I've been
would
waiting
be
for that.
the running title for it is Vision Quest, but they haven't committed to that. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Right?
See, but yeah, get Madonna in there. Yeah. Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, I don't highly recommend that, but it's like that's the running title right now. That's probably not where it's going to end up, but it is going to, which good, because remember, like at the end of WandaVision, you're like, well, where'd it go?
Right.
So they actually, it's going to pick up from the events of WandaVision.
Oh, okay.
And wherever he goes, apparently Ultron's there. So
That's gonna be great, though.
Yeah,
James Spader, come on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right. Exactly. Well, and that's those kind of shows. We spoke yesterday with Brandon at the state of the health of franchise health, and we were talking about the oversaturation of shows. Like the the actual series, but it's a show like this that I get really excited about because, all right, you're going to bring Spader back as Ultron. Well, okay, I'm excited to see how they're going to work that in together, knowing that
right,
going into it.
Where's he been hiding? Right, I thought we took care of that problem.
Right.
Right.
But having him infiltrate the
Multiverses
universe
stuff,
or
right.
the internet. Maybe he's just been offline, multiverse. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I think that that'll be a fun one. And I haven't been. I think we've all been at times underwhelmed with the Marvel TV offerings, but this is a kind of a fun one to
But not just
explore.
the Marvel. There's the Star Wars, like the Acolyte. It
Yeah.
didn't do too well, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. But it was just a different story,
Well,
and it entertained me.
And that's how we were too. But when they said they announced, that was one of the big headlines this week was that they actually announced like, no, we have heard you and you didn't like the Acolyte, so we're not going to make any more. That's fine. I'm a little bummed because if we switch over to that for a moment to Star Wars, when they were hyping up the Acolyte, number one, I thought Carrie-Anne Moss, like this was Carrie-Anne Moss's Star
Right.
Wars show,
Yes.
right? And I was like, that was rude. Everything Carrie-Anne Moss did in Star Wars, we saw in the trailer. Like,
Right. I mean, they did do a lot of flashbacks.
Right.
But,
Yes, thankfully.
but
I just wish they would have waited till later to do that first. So
yes, yeah,
to give us a little bit more.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, lean into your mic a little bit. Michelle's new on the mic. I hired her
Sorry.
to be behind the scenes doing community coordinating stuff for the Kinda Nerdy Network and the KJ Today Show. And I'm like, look at you on camera and on the microphones.
Yeah, you're going to be behind the scenes. Here's a mic. Go. But I think with the Star Wars series that they've been putting out, I feel like overall they've been okay. What I've noticed is they have good episode. They'll have like several good episodes within the series, but the overall series, just kind of was okay with really good episodes. But then the episodes that weren't good, it just kind of brought you back down. Like, really, that's it?
Well, and I think, like, big picture overall, it's been interesting to watch these amazing movie franchises struggle to make the switch to the TV world, right? It's a different way to tell a story. It's a different arc. It's a
And I
different.
think they went to that because the pandemic, it started all that.
Yeah.
So, where everybody's streaming all the time.
Yeah, well, and basically now even the cost that it takes to produce these shows. I mean, they're making 8 and 10 hour movies. So is basically what's happening. So they're just drawing out the story. I mean, they're just drawing out the storylines. I think almost ad nauseum, depending. That's why, like, okay, I'm good with the setup and everything else, but the good episodes I referred to, the really good episodes, that's when it's like, all right, we're done trying to set everything up. I think they were taking too long to set, like, world building, like, taking too long.
And
for
that is, the point I was making with the Acolyte is all of that setup. Number one is like Carrie-Anne Moss in Star Wars. I mean, like, maybe for a little bit, but also it was the Sith origin. Like, I thought we were
Yes.
going to get, like, the Sith. We never really got to, like, the actual, like, I'm like, we're going to
Right.
get some Sith action, man. Like,
And we didn't.
and we did it. And I think that may have been part of the problem with the perception of the show that we were going into was not the show that we got. Maybe we would have liked it better if we would have been like, they would have been like, this is going to be a show about, you know, some witches and a couple of little girls. And like the
Right.
struggle that was actually happening in that show did not get us to Darth Maul. Like, I was
Right.
expecting, like, like, give me some Sith, man.
Right.
Yep. And I think that's what the Star Wars universe has truly lacked. In, you know, like, we know the story of the Jedi. For the I mean, like, it's been Jedi focused, right? Let's start deep diving in the Sith.
Yeah. Well, I did like at the end where you see a familiar character,
Right.
you know, at the
Yes,
end,
yes.
and I was like, oh, yay, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why I was excited for them to do another season
Correct.
at least.
Yeah.
But
Well, thank you guys for joining us here on the podcast stage at PopCon Louisville. We're the Kind of Nerdy Girls. We're part of the Kind of Nerdy Network, which also features the KJ Today Show, the Cat Conversation. If you're into cats, we have a whole podcast about that. And we just try to keep it positive and really, even though we have all of these shows, at the heart of it, it is a community. So if you're interested in hanging out with people, connecting with people in a really cool community, you can't be kind of nerdy without being kind first. And our Facebook group is full of great people that even if you post like, hey, is anybody watching this, or is anybody playing this game, or you know, anybody care about this anime? If nobody does, like, there will be somebody that posts, I don't know what it is, but tell us about it, because maybe I want to, right?
right.
So it's a really cool community, and it's a Facebook group, so it doesn't cost anything to join. KindaNerdyNetwork.com is where you can find us and stay kind of nerdy with us. A couple more headlines. There is, you know, the rumblings, and I think fans are talking about it, of finally getting Channing Tatum his own movie for Gambit. So I wanted to get your thoughts. I mean, it was super fun to see him in Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yes.
and to see, you know, some of the social media. If you don't follow Ryan Reynolds, like, it's just been it's so funny that it's been such a love fest for a movie that could be seen as, you know, like, crude and out there, and it's like, no, like, they put their hearts into this thing. They love
sure
this thing.
did.
And Ryan talking about being able to give Channing that opportunity, and Channing talking about how much it meant to him to, like, he was crushed that there wasn't going to be a Gambit movie.
Like,
Yeah.
I watched an interview just the other day. He was on a late night talk show, and he was just like, I've tried for years, but a lot of it's because of the production company who owned,
Correct.
you know, Marvel at the time.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Yeah.
cross our fingers, we will get the band. But his
Yeah.
accent as the Gambit,
Listen,
I crack up every time.
all of the memes and like the comparisons to the Minions. I don't know if you've seen that, but I'm like, it honestly has ruined it a little bit, because all I hear is the Minions when he's talking,
Well,
and I'm
there's-
like, am I going to be able to watch a whole Gambit movie? just
Right, with his-
giggling with his accent?
But there's so many reels, even on Facebook, like it pops up, and I just watch them because they're hilarious.
Yeah. And the thing, you could tell he had a great time filming that.
yes.
I mean, like, you could just tell. I mean, like, yes, they're all actors, correct, but there was something about like it was like this permanent smile on his face, even though he was supposed to be distressed.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh man, he's just killing it.
Yeah, well, and I think for, you know, all of them that got to be a part of it, it wasn't what I liked about the Deadpool Wolverine cameos was that they had substance. They were there for a reason, and you could tell that they were all excited. Like Wesley Snipes, and especially,
I
you
was
know,
just
like,
gonna bring that up. I
Right.
like
Oh,
Wesley
my God,
Snipes as
yes.
Blade. You know,
Yes, wasn't it so fun to see
Yes.
him do that?
Mhm.
And then, he dropped the line, "There's only one Blade," and we're like,
Right.
"Yes, and it's
Yes.
you, and we
Yes,
need more
right.
of that."
right?
Yep.
I mean, Jennifer Garner getting to like be like the like muscled, like the actual like Elektra that
Right.
we wanted her to be, and not the like twig sex symbol. I mean, not that there is some of that to that character, right? But it was so fun to see her get to play that role that
Right.
way. And then, oh my gosh, I mean,
From
Chris-
Logan,
yes,
the daughter.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and to
that
see
was
her all grown
and
up.
all grown up. Yeah.
yes. And then,
Wait,
Chris
were there any
Evans.
other?
Storm.
Yeah, I was
Chris
gonna say.
Evans is Johnny Storm. I mean, I myself, like, if you're listening to this, Ryan Reynolds, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for giving us a little more Johnny Storm. I was so hoping during the multiverse of madness, I was like, they're gonna hop into a multiverse where Chris Evans is Johnny Storm. They have to. Like, it's such a great opportunity.
Right.
Right? And so I was shocked that they didn't, because that's it. What Deadpool did was exactly what I thought they would do in the multiverse. Is like, he's going to show up and we're all going to be like, Captain America's back. And they're like,
Well,
nope.
My first thought when I saw him was Captain America.
Was it?
But then later on,
He's gonna say it. He's gonna say it.
he's going to say it, right?
Yeah, he's going to say it. He's going to say it.
Flame on.
Flame on.
Huh? And then, and to Chris Evans, I mean, like being able to, like, show his comic chops at deleted scene at the extra scene at the end of the credits.
Right.
I mean, I just lost it.
So I just read about this, and the conversation that he had with Ryan Reynolds about doing that. Ryan kind of approached him, and he was like, "Look, dude, like, we really want you to do this. We'll do whatever we need to do. We'll have cue cards, like however we need to make you comfortable." And he was like, "I'm memorizing this, and I am going to roll it off." Like, he was so excited to get to do something like that, because he's like, when would I ever have imagined in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I would get to say all of this?
Just some of
right?
the most profane things you'll ever hear come out of Chris Evans' mouth. Yeah.
Right.
And he is, I mean, he's a really funny guy. Like,
Yes.
he's fun. Like, I'm not saying I don't know him well enough to be like, that's totally his personality. That's how he talks. But that is something he...
Yeah, but we've worked shows with him that, I mean, that was part of his personality.
He's kind of a goofball.
Yeah, he's a very big goofball.
Yeah, so that was just super fun, and it was funny to hear him be like, "No cue cards. I am doing this. Don't you
Right.
worry." And it's fun to be in a space where we're talking about, a Marvel movie that we all had a lot of fun seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a while since that's happened. I mean,
I will
and
say
again,
I enjoyed the heck out of the Marvels. The Marvels was so much fun.
It was.
I did not understand why people did not give it a chance. I don't know if it was because it was so deep into the TV shows and stuff that if you didn't watch those things, maybe it didn't translate. You didn't care about Ms. Marvel as
but
much.
that was the first movie they put out that truly incorporated the television, or the actual the streaming series.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Wanda as the Scarlet Witch and in Doctor Strange, but like as far as blending so many different characters together, I mean, that's I think they did a good job, and I don't understand why the Marvel fan base has such an aversion to Brie Larson. I don't know. I mean, like from the moment she was
Captain
from the
Marvel.
moment she was named Captain Marvel, she was met with nothing but backlash. And and so many people say the only reason the first Captain Marvel movie even did good was because they had Samuel L. Jackson was in it, and it's just like
he was in
no.
the Marvels too.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not carrying those movies. It was
No.
great to have him in
but I
it.
did like from WandaVision, what's her name was in the Marvel.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we have the new the spinoff from WandaVision is coming out too. Agatha.
Oh, yeah,
my
that's
gosh.
September.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yep. Just
Yes.
coming up here in a couple weeks.
Okay, you said absolutely not, but I'm going to put you on the spot, producer Patches, a.k.a.
Yes.
my husband. I feel like you said you don't want to do a rewatch of WandaVision, but I feel like
No,
we
no, I
need
did not say
to. Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I've
did
watched
not.
it 2 or 3 times
Have you?
or
You know what?
more.
I really, I mean, like, I truly
You
believe.
told me to do it on my own.
I said I would do it too. I said go ahead and start.
No, you did not say.
Okay, Mom and Dad.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Michelle, like, this is where it gets good when Mom and Dad start fighting.
Yep.
But no,
I said,
mean,
let's rewatch WandaVision,
Yeah.
and you said, no, you can go ahead and do that on your own.
no.
Yes,
but, I
you
mean,
did. We have cameras
Maybe
in
he
our
was
house. I'll go
busy.
find them.
Maybe he was just busy and doesn't have time.
Wow, KG really likes being right.
It's my show. I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least
all right,
you
fine.
can get your
I'm
husband
just
to
a
watch
token
shows.
nerdy girl.
Well,
so
then, am I
nerdy
getting you
dude
on
for the nerdy
record
girls.
as saying you will rewatch WandaVision
I
with me?
loved WandaVision. I absolutely will rewatch
No,
that.
that's why I was shocked that you said you
I
wouldn't.
loved it. I mean, I think overall, it's like 1A is WandaVision and Hawkeye are
yes.
probably my 2
Yeah.
favorites.
I've
of all
rewatched
the-
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
It's a fun
Yeah.
rewatch. I'll probably
It's
do
a
it again
good
at Christmas.
Christmas.
Right? It's
Yeah,
a-
exactly. Well, I mean, you were wearing your Captain America the musical shirt Friday here at
Oh
PopCon.
yeah, did you notice that? That Captain America shirt. I
Yeah.
was so excited about that they have the Captain America the musical shirt out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like, you know, I think, you know, I think with Agatha coming out, you know, Wanda, yes, we absolutely need to rewatch. But do you think that they're going to just like once the Agatha series out, they're just going to kill the character then? Because it seems like they are starting to
Did you read
do
the
that
comic
more.
books?
I did not.
I did when WandaVision was out because it went when Geek Vibes Nation.
Yes.
You guys did that.
Oh, the MCR, yeah,
Right.
the Marvel Cinematic Review. Yes.
They talked about like the guy that led that. He was so saying that the evil person was.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, Juwan. Yeah.
Yeah. He said it was. There's a different villain.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name.
Okay.
Starts with an M.
Oh, Mephisto.
Yep.
Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto,
We
yeah.
all thought
Yeah,
it was going to be.
Mephisto.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Not Manifesto.
Manifesto.
I,
You know that Marvel character
on my
Manifesto.
Kindle, I downloaded those comics. And I
Okay.
read those.
Okay.
So in it, like, because she's Magneto's daughter in the comic.
Wanda. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it was just really interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to see a cameo of her in the Agatha. That's what I would.
I would be
looking
shocked
forward-
if they don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, to answer your question, Patches, I don't know if they even know. I know that they have said that the TV shows moving forward are not going to connect into the movies, which I think is I think is brilliant because
Yeah.
even though like we're going to consume all of that, how do you bring new fans into a fandom where you have to watch 86 things to understand what's happening? They're
Right.
not going to do it. We sit down and look at a TV show and you're like, oh, that has 7 seasons. I can't watch all that. You know, so I think
Right.
I think they have to do that,
Yeah.
but they may have already set her up depending on where they're at in their planning. They may have already set her up, or it's going to be open ended and you'll wait.
Well, they
and
need
see.
to get new viewership too.
Right.
So
Yes. Yeah,
where they
they've
don't have to go back and watch all this stuff to
Right.
lead up.
yeah, they've maxed it out, and we as fans of Marvel from the beginning have to give them some grace to continue to be a profitable company,
Yes.
and that they have to bring in new people. They've maxed out us. right?
Yes.
So we have to let them do that, and I don't mind. It's I think it's kind of, and I don't say nice things about DC very often, but I think what they've done with Matt Reeves, that is separate from what they're doing with the DC universe, is really smart. They're like, we have this other thing that might appeal to other people, and you don't have to worry about how many DC movies or shows you've watched. You can just go watch this Batman if you want. You can watch that Joker movie if you want.
Right.
I think that is one thing
And the
that
new
DC,
Joker movie, the Penguins
Yep.
get ready to come out on Max.
Can you believe that's Colin Farrell?
No. It's hard
No,
to believe.
it is.
But it is.
I
It
don't
is
even
super
know.
creepy.
I don't even know if I can watch it because in the trailer, I'm not listening to anything that anyone's saying. I'm not following anything that's going on. I'm staring at it going, how is Colin Farrell in there? I don't. That is
of
not
makeup.
Colin Farrell.
It's so
A
weird.
lot of makeup.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I hear Colin Farrell, the only thing that pops in my head was him playing Jesse James in American Outlaws, and I'm like, what?
But even in Fantastic Beasts, like he looks like
Yes.
Colin Farrell, right? I'm like,
Right.
Yes.
I'm looking deep into his eyes. Like, can I see Colin Farrell's eyes in the Penguin? Like, I cannot. This is a lie. They're punking us. Colin Farrell is not actually the Penguin.
He's a good actor.
It was weird, like when I watched, he was in The Gentleman as well, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
have him balding and just looking out of shape and everything of that. I was just like, oh man,
That's why they call them actors.
yes, exactly.
Wow, they're really good at that thing that they do for a living.
Right?
Amazing.
Well, and they got good makeup artists and stuff too that
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Brendan Fraser. He won the Oscar, and they literally put a cooling system in his prosthetic.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did they really?
Yes.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, it was crazy.
not know that. Hello. We are the Kind of Nerdy Girls. We're part of the Kind of Nerdy Network, which is a community you can join at kindofnerdynetwork.com. It is a group of kind and nerdy people. So please join us there. One of the things that I always like to do on the show, we do a round of binges and books, and we just kind of update each other on what we're watching and give some recommendations, maybe what we're reading. So I'm going to start with you, Producer Patches. I know you're not reading anything.
Hey. Wow, that's aggressive.
What do you have to update us on?
All right.
Besides NCIS in our kitchen every night while you make dinner, what are you watching?
My new favorite binge right now is compliments of one of our actors here at PopCon,
Ooh.
Mike Colter.
Are we
And-
going to talk about evil?
And yes, and it is evil.
okay.
I am in love with this show.
It is really
it is
good.
such. Yeah, we have one episode to go in season 2, and then it's on after that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot to
I'm
go
just
through.
starting season 3, so I haven't got into it. 'cause
Yeah.
I've been binging other things, like I did Stranger Things because the
Yep.
actors were going to be
Season 5's
here.
coming up. Yep.
But yeah,
I when we started watching Evil, I was like, I don't know if I'll be okay with this because me, I don't like.
I was worried about you.
It was
A lot
hilarious.
of people were.
The
She
amount
couldn't watch The Walking Dead.
Right. I
I
was
watched all that last
I
year.
was fighting zombies in my sleep every night. I'm like, I can't do this, Walking Dead. You're killing me. Yeah, it was hilarious, the reaction to people finding out. I wish I'd had a camera every time I told one of my friends I was watching Evil.
Right.
They're like, oh, I don't think you should be watching that.
surprised.
I don't
Right.
think you should be watching that. I think they make it so weird. Like, even the, I'm trying to think of their name, the demons in their sleep.
What?
The incubus. The ones that were in their sleep that were coming to them in their dreams. Like, they were kind of weird and funny. Like, they weren't, they were creepy. Sure.
Well, in season 1, that one demon was scary. Like, coming out from under her bed.
Yeah,
You
the
know, that
introduction to
was
that,
really-
to that guy.
I
But
didn't
he-
like it,
right
but when
after-
he started talking, he was kind of just like
he was
this,
very quippy.
Yeah, he was
Right.
like, oh, he's like,
Right.
he's a little bit of a smartass, so I guess I'm okay with him being super scary.
Yes.
I think seductive would be
Seductive, yeah.
Mhm.
It was gross. There's
Yeah.
so many things that happen in that show where I'm like, this is so gross and weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, and I think because they're mixing, they mix the Catholic Church in with the
Right.
science and the psychology that goes with it. And
to debunk.
right.
Yes.
Well, and KJ, you just interviewed Ben the Magnificent
Yay.
for the KJ Today show as well, and I mean he's advocating for hey guys, let's keep this series going.
Season 2 for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
He had a demon
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
attached to him.
Yeah, that'll be, it may come out before, you know what, it will come out before this episode because I'm going to put it out on Wednesday. So it'll be Wednesday. What is this Wednesday's date? I can tell you. I'm going to commit to it right now so that you know. This Wednesday, the 28th, yes, my interview with Aasif Manvi from Evil. And it was so fun to talk to him. And he's done so much stuff. Like, he was a correspondent on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart for a while. Like, he's got it.
Done a few things.
He's got an interesting career. He's super funny. At one point, he was talking to me about, I'm like, all right, well, what's next if you don't have any more Evil? And he said, well, I did this project. It's a horror project. You're not going to watch it. And I was like, no, I'm definitely not going to watch it. But like, it was a fun conversation with him. And then he led me to, I told him we were going to have Mike Colter here. And I said, give me something weird to ask him, like something that the crowd's
Yeah,
not
that
going
was fun.
to ask him. And he said, ask him why he does cold plunges every day.
He went into detail on his panel.
Oh, my gosh.
On that, like, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
By step,
Oh,
by step.
well, I mean, and he's one of the most physically fit
Oh, well, yeah.
people you'll
I'm
ever
going to
meet
meet
as
him
well.
after this.
Yeah,
So.
well, what I really loved about Mike was he was very thoughtful in his answers, very passionate, very knowledgeable about the business.
Yes.
And I loved, like, we'll show this to you. I'll get the clip of him talking about the cold plunge. He was passionate about it because it's something that he absolutely does not want to do every day.
Yep.
But because he gets himself to do it, it puts him in a mindset to do all of the things he wants to do for the day. Like, it was motivational. Like, I don't do a cold plunge, but I do occasionally rinse my hair in cold water. So I'm like, I kind of get it, man. Like, you get out of the shower after I've rinsed my hair with cold water. I'm like, you and me are the same, Mike. I rinse my hair in cold water. It's totally like doing a cold plunge.
Yep, samesies. Totally samesies.
Oh, my.
But it was an interesting answer, right?
Yeah.
Like, it almost made you go, you know what? Maybe I should do a cold plunge. But you know, Mike didn't in his panel have specifics on what to do about, if you're a fan, how to like keep Evil going. But Aasif was like, you need to be tweeting Paramount Plus. You need to be posting on Instagram. You know, like, he was totally like, we need more. He wasn't like.
Yeah.
And I mean, these actors, they go through this. A show gets canceled, and they're like, well, what's the next project? And Aasif Manvi is a fan of Evil just like we are. And he's like, no, we need more of this, and you guys need to be the people
Absolutely.
that
Well,
save
I'm hoping Netflix might pick it up like they did Lucifer.
I
you
think
know?
it's in such a good place
And they
because
did.
of how well it's doing on
Right.
Netflix.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, and again, it was the same thing that happened with Resident Alien. So Resident Alien drops on Netflix, and then just like Evil is now, they were a top 1-2 trending show for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Right.
And I think that's great. Like how they
There's
did
a
with
couple of
Lucifer.
shows that
Like
got
Fox canceled Lucifer, Netflix picks it up.
Well, that was why we got more Arrested Development.
Exactly.
That was why
exactly.
we got another season of that. So, there is some power in the fandom now, which is kind of cool. It doesn't mean it's going to happen every time.
Yes.
But if this Evil fandom is being loud and
Yes.
the Netflix numbers keep doing what they're doing, there is a real possibility,
Possibility,
even
yeah.
if it's like with Lucifer, even if it's not a full season, it's we get 6 more episodes or whatever, just to give the fans a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yep.
we like this show, let's make it happen, and
Yeah.
and the number. So we've talked about again yesterday. We talked about this too. Back in the day when there were less networks. I mean, you tune into Friends or Cheers or Seinfeld or whatever the case. You're getting 23 million people watching, a show, on a weekly basis, and that that wasn't even the number one spot on a show. Now, if you get 2 million people or 3 million people, that is considered a massively successful show.
Well, Mike, he watches Seinfeld all the time on Netflix.
Yeah, your husband Mike, yeah.
Yeah. He's constantly has it on all the time. We have Hulu now too, so we could get
Buffy?
It's Always Sunny.
Always Sunny,
in
yes.
Philadelphia.
We have not started that.
He loves that show. There's just one person on there that I don't care for very much.
And
Come on, lay off
His
Danny
voice.
DeVito.
Oh,
it's
no.
not Danny
I know exactly
DeVito.
who you're talking about.
It's
yeah.
his voice. It just
Yep.
gets under my skin.
that's so funny. I do that to some people too. I'm sorry.
But I will watch the show with him.
You will.
Yeah.
Well, and that is it's a different world, and I don't wish it on any creators to figure out how do we meet the amount of content that people want at the level we expect it. And that's part of the problem that if we go back just real quick to like Star Wars and Marvel, is that they can't afford to keep making these TV shows at the level they're making them if they're not going to see a benefit from it, because we expect the TV show to look like the movie, and that costs money. So they can't keep doing it. Hi, Carl.
They probably make more money.
Is that
doing
Carl
the
from
movies.
PopCon again?
Oh my gosh, this is the most
Yeah.
I've seen Carl from PopCon. He just keeps walking by. It's like he wants to be on the show or something.
Yeah, and I cannot wait for Carl's podcast to come
Oh
out.
man, stand by, PopCon fans.
Yeah,
for,
Carl, can you give us a little teaser of when your podcast is going to be coming out?
negative
So soon
5
is what
years
you're
ago.
saying. Okay. Good. That's good to know.
All right. Well, thank you very much to PopCon for bringing this wonderful experience to Louisville. Thanks to all of the vendors. This vendor hall, man, is incredible. This has
Yes.
been.
This is some of the best vendors I've ever seen
You know
at
what?
any con.
I will tell you, and I don't generally. I mean, we're pretty busy, but we don't generally shop a lot. We have bought more at PopCon Louisville than we ever have.
I did last
Yes.
year and this year.
Because the vendors here are amazing, and
Yep.
the content creators and all of the volunteers, and I just can't say enough about kind of like the kind of nerdy network is this community of really supportive people. PopCon stands out the most from other cons because it is it's not just a convention, it's a community.
Right.
There are friends and family here, and I see them, they're walking by, and I'm waving, and it's like all these people. I'll see you in Indy.
Yes.
Thank you. Good night. Make sure that you are following along with PopCon Nation on all of the social media networks, and follow along with the Kind of Nerdy Girls. Easiest way to find all of our social media, it's basically under My Social. Go to kjonsocial.com. You can join our Facebook group and find all of our social platforms.
That's
Find
where all
our
the stuff and things are
Find
at.
our YouTube channel and find that magical link to save 10% at conquestjournals.com. Thank you. Good night.
Kind of